Hey everyone, it's Lisa from the blog Farmhouse on Boone.com, and today I want to show you how to make some super easy fermented jalapenos. In a recent video, I showed you how to make easy fermented dill pickles. This is gonna follow the same process almost exactly as that. It's so easy and you can start getting some of these probiotic rich foods into your family. Now, this isn't really something for the kids at all. Trust me on that one. But the sauerkraut, the pickles, all of that are things that your kids can enjoy. We have our kids with every meal, they get to pick what they want, but they need to eat one of the fermented foods. I'd say half of them choose sauerkraut, half choose pickles. As long as they're choosing something and we give them a choice, works for us. Now, my husband and I, we love these fermented jalapenos. They are so hot, okay? So if you think jalapenos are hot, just try fermenting them. They're even hotter. So you definitely want to have maybe like one jalapeno with several bites of meat. You could also ferment them and put them in a homemade salsa, would be delicious. We've tried just eating, one jalapeno with one bite of meat like you might do on a nacho or something. Mouth is on fire, but we do love spicy. And so this to us is just such a good little side dish to have a couple of jalapenos with each meal. Makes it easy when you ferment something because you can just get it out of the refrigerator, put it on the table, and it's a side dish. No prep work, obviously prep work in the beginning, but once they're done, they just sit in the refrigerator and you can just pull them out with a moment's notice. We're gonna start by creating a brine. Now, my ratio for most fermented vegetables is about 5-ish tablespoons of salt per half gallon of water. So I'm doing a quart of water here because I'm gonna make a smaller batch of jalapenos. So I'm gonna do about 2.5 tablespoons of salt. Now I'm just gonna get this water nice and warm so that the salt will dissolve. Now I am using this Redmond real salt. You can use any sea salt, Himalayan salt. Just don't use iodized salt. I'll link some options that I've purchased before. I've never had a salt, as long as I was buying, a high quality salt, not be appropriate. They've always been great. I usually just get whatever is easiest. If it's at the store, I'll grab it, but usually a lot of my grocery shopping happens online. So this is from Amazon. Now, while that's dissolving, I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of my fermenting tools. I don't use a whole lot of tools at all. Now, there are a few things you can use to make your life a little bit easier. I have a couple of weights in my collection, a couple different kinds. I really like these glass ones. They are super heavy, so they actually keep things down under the brine, because when you're creating fermented vegetables, the most important thing is that the vegetables stay submerged under the brine. If that happens, then no mold will grow. In the salt water, the good bacteria will grow and the bad bacteria won't. It's just important that they stay below the brine. That's pretty much the only thing that needs to happen with fermenting, is salt water plus vegetables submerged. That's literally it with all the fermented vegetables. These really help that. I've bought these as well. They're just not heavy enough. They never keep it below the brine like I want it to. Now, you can avoid both of these if you also have a cabbage leaf on hand. So when I was making these particular jalapenos that my husband and I have been enjoying, I was also making sauerkraut that day. So I just put a folded cabbage leaf on top. But then there's other times I'm making them when I have enough sauerkraut in my stash and I just use a weight because I don't have any cabbage leaves on hand. I found these on Amazon. I will link them below. They are definitely my favorite weights. They're new to me in my collection, but I like them a lot better. I've used rocks, I've used less heavy ones. These are my favorite so far. They also have a little thing on the top where you can actually pull them out. There's a little gripper. Another thing that I've used quite a bit, I have a couple of sets of these, is this fermenting lid. They work with a wide mouth canning ring. They just go inside and you put them on top, and it allows all of the gases that happen from fermentation to escape while not letting anything in. So these are really nice. Those are the only fermenting tools I use. I don't have any fancy airlocks or anything else. Sometimes I don't even use these. If all of my tops like this are currently being used on other ferments, I might just put a loose lid on with a cabbage leaf and none of my tools are being used. These do make your life a little bit easier, but you don't have to have them. While this is getting warm and dissolving, gonna start cutting up my jalapenos. Now, I don't know what the temperature is like where you are. We still have not gotten our garden in here. We definitely could at this point, But this might be a good time to think about what vegetables you'd like to ferment, and you can get them going in your garden. We love jalapenos. Fermenting them actually has kind of changed how we actually do this, because it never made sense to grow a whole bunch of jalapenos and then with each meal cut them up and then cook them on the side because the kids can't have them. So there's really no way for us to get in jalapenos. And I noticed that anytime my husband and I went to a restaurant for a date night or something, I was always choosing to get anything that had jalapenos in it because I love jalapenos. I never eat them at home. And I was like, why don't I ever buy jalapenos? And the reason is that just to leave them out for the kids and just to cook something separate always seems like a hassle. But this is a way to prepare them that the adults can always put a little bit of jalapeno on their plate and the kids can avoid them and you don't have to make something separate. All right, now that my salt is fully incorporated and we have a salty brine here, I allowed it to cool a little bit because basically the way fermentation works is you're allowing the good bacteria that's on a vegetable to take over. And if you'd put really hot water on there or boiling water, it would almost sanitize the vegetables to the point of where the fermentation process would not work as well. So the salt in this keeps bad bacteria from growing, but what we're trying to encourage here in a fermented product is good bacteria to grow. Now something that I'm gonna do is add a little bit of the brine from my last batch. So this already has all those good probiotics in it as they've already fermented. So if you have some of that brine available, you can add it as a little bit of a starter. Now if you don't, it's totally fine. I don't always, but if you do, that's great. All right, now I'm just gonna let this sit out for about 5 days or so. Now you can leave this on the counter and then maybe at day 3, see if it's to your desired level of fermentation. If it's not sour enough, then leave it out for another 5 days. So we've done that to where we leave it on the counter, grab one at day 3, not quite how we like it, leave it out another couple days. And then whenever we're all done with the amount of sourness, that's when you put it in the refrigerator to slow down and basically stop that fermentation process. So around 5 days is good for us for things like jalapenos and cucumbers. Now things like sauerkraut, I can leave out on the counter for weeks and I really like the added flavor. So it just depends on the vegetable and your preferences. Now, if you are brand new to fermenting, it is so easy and I encourage you to dive in and get started even with just a few basic things. I have a few other recipes on this channel. I have a couple different recipes for pickles. I have a sauerkraut, I have a kimchi on my blog, and then a few other ferments for beverages like milk kefir and water kefir. I will leave links to all of those below so you can check them out and get started on this fermentation journey. So good for your health. It's just added probiotics, kind of like taking a probiotic pill but making them yourself at home so your body really knows how to use them and recognize them, and a lot of people see some great health benefits from it. All right, well, if you're brand new to my channel and you enjoy videos like this, please hit that subscribe button. I make 2 videos every week on food from scratch, natural living, and a handmade home. Thank you so much for stopping by the farmhouse.